I'm thrilled to kick off the forum in our traditional live format at the TGA with two visionaries like the Daniels, who, with their groundbreaking work, have established their distinct brand and forged their own unconventional path, from music videos to features and everything in between. Let's find out what else can they do. I don't know, maybe they're going to tell us something else tonight. Always bringing to the screen a new and exciting cinematic adventure. They totally embody the spirit of the forum, which is to inspire filmmakers to take charge of their work and shape their careers as artists. All of you here, that's what we're trying to do. So the Daniels are here. They're ready to share. Please help me welcome them.
Hello, hi guys.
Hello, hi guys.
Thank you, Film Independent. This is very exciting. I've been to many of these events in the past, so it's very exciting to be up here on stage now. How many of you guys have seen the film? Have you guys? Okay, good.
Most of you. Wait, who hasn't?
Shame.
No, it's fine. Cool. This might be confusing for you. You're like, what is that thing? That's a bagel.
And then we're gonna watch the whole thing now, just so they can catch up. Okay.
Right. Oh, wow.
And we're all filmmakers here. How many of you guys want to be, or how many of you guys are in the director place? Yeah. Okay. Great.
Writery.
Writer. Okay. A couple
Cool.
of you guys.
Actory. Producery.
Script supervisory.
Oh,
yeah. There we go.
Journalist.
Yeah. We were just at Ghetto Film School,
scientist.
and scientist, yeah, one scientist. We were just at Ghetto Film School, and we asked the teenagers there like what they wanted to be, and two of the girls said script supervisor, and we're like, hell yeah! Not only do they know more than me at their age, but they know exactly what they wanted to be, which is incredible. So we are here because we made this movie, and we can't believe we're still talking about it like 10 months after it came out. This is wild.
Fact check, like 7? 7 months.
But we thought it would be really fun to kind of get nitty-gritty into this question that we keep getting asked, which is like, how did we pull off everything everywhere all at once?
Next slide.
Next slide. On an indie budget. And I know we're very, it's very important for us to talk about like how lucky we are, how privileged we are. We were in the right place at the right time, and our careers just kind of took off. And so, you know, the indie budget, it was about 14 million after COVID, whatever. Those kind of things.
Which felt very not indie.
It's very
to me.
cushy for us, yeah.
But for a sci-fi action film, they kept telling us that's indie.
Yeah, the first pass of the budget, the line producer came back with 60 million, and we were like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And so it's kind of, but I think it's kind of unfair to any aspiring filmmakers to expect to be able to pull off something like that without looking back at our whole careers, because in the end, the answer to that question of like, how did you guys pull it off is like, it took us 12 years of working together slowly, starting from two guys in the camera until we built up this, you know, this career. I was just calculating how many shoots we've been on. We did,
13 short films, 13 music videos, 9 episodes of TV, 12 commercials, and 2 feature films. And that's just mostly the stuff we did together. Right. Before that, we did a lot of commercial competitions. He did like an Etsy competition in college and got... That's how you bought your computer?
That's how I bought my computer, yeah. Exactly.
And then I won like this Dibs ice cream commercial competition. Yeah. And I bought a camera with it.
It's actually really good. He was really...
It was pretty good. But I also made a bunch of other commercials that I lost hard. Like I made this one for Butterfinger where I just strapped a bunch of butter to my finger and then ate it. And there's like blood everywhere. And I don't know why I thought I would win. If I
It's still one of his best work, though.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, to kind of really tell the story of how we pulled off that movie, you guys have to look at all the things that we learned over our you know, relatively short careers, but for us, it's felt like a very long time.
Like sometimes people ask us like, what was your big break? And I think like there's certain projects that like felt big, but it really felt like, you know, 100 stepping stones. Not a break, and I'm so glad, because I think like a big break would be so like scary,
Kind of like right now.
Kind of like right now. This is pretty scary, and I'm glad we've like at least practiced a little. But yeah.
But yeah, over the over the course of the slides, we'll kind of dip into a bunch of little tidbits. It's gonna be very messy because that's how we are. Our brains are very messy, and also we've been very busy. So we put this together this morning at
Plus
4
you're
in the
like-
morning.
You're filmmakers, and I feel like it's good to like just be honest about the fact that like our computer desktops are just as messy as yours. Like we're not different. So yeah, that's the question. Is how we do it.
And I just this week I was just thinking about this thing I read a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember this story. Someone back a long time ago when the internet was fun and not this nightmarish hellhole it is now. Someone
fun
posted about sometimes about trading a paperclip up into a house, which is a wild idea. But the way they did it was just basically step by step, trying to add a little bit to what the paperclip's value was. And so over the course of a year, they traded it for a pen, they traded it for a concert ticket, and slowly they actually got to a house, which is ridiculous. But that's how our careers have felt. We're going to show you our first paperclip, which is really embarrassing. It was 2009, 2000.
I'm still proud of it.
Okay, great. And really, this project was just us trying to teach each other something. I was trying to teach him After Effects. He was trying to teach me how to shoot live action because he came from comedy, improv. I came from animation. And it was never meant to be really a short film that we showed anyone. It was just kind of a fun, weird thing.
It was like a camera test, but also I think in college, YouTube came out and Vimeo came out, and we both were like throwing things online just to see what the reaction was, just be like, what are the comments going to be like? So I convinced him to release this online, even though it started out as just a camera test because he just got a Canon 5D Mark II, and we were like, oh, bro, we can do like shallow depth of field, like low light photography.
For those of you guys who don't know, it was a massive shift for like prosumer cameras. Suddenly you could have interchangeable lenses. It was
I love the reaction it
H.264.
got.
I know, you
Yeah.
guys know how
Yeah.
important it was because you remember how awful the mini DV cameras
Some
were.
Mark II fans in here.
But yeah,
All right.
the Canon was another purchase after one of those commercial competition
I think
wins.
the microphone on this was a Canon, was just the Canon.
It's just
yeah,
on
it's
camera,
not
yeah.
good sound. Here we go.
Hey. Want to push me? Okay.
That sucks.
What do I...
Nope.
Uh,
Worry.
I'm scared. Oh my god.
What?
Oh.
We definitely have the rights to play that song, right? That's
The Beach Boys are so affordable.
okay.
The weird thing, when we rewatched that, I realized the end of Everything Everywhere. If you watch the end of the credits, it's like this song that goes, "I love you, I love you, I love you." So both the movies end with "I love
Full
you."
circle. I think we can quit now. That was the we closed the loop.
You heard it here.
But so just so you guys have a little context, like one of the first lessons we learned on this paperclip ride was just taking the things that we had around us. Obviously, the camera was the big thing, but again, that only came about because we were just trying to do these commercial competitions and losing 99% of them. But every now and then, we'd win enough to get something. And so that camera, we were walking home after summer camp. We were summer camp counselors, and it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and we were really jealous of the kids because they're all like middle school, high school kids. They were making short films, and we're like, we want to get in on that.
So I think we wrote it. We walked into the playground and wrote it based on the playground that was across the street from his apartment.
Right. Because because it was the only place on the street that was lit. So we're like, okay, a lit spot, 2 guys.
The lighting's good. Like, there's good lighting pollution in
Yeah,
Boston. Like you can kind of see like the sky, which is kind of nice. You should play it in the background.
Hey.
Oh,
Scrub
Wanna
scrub
push
to
me?
the moment where
Okay.
you're floating, because I think it's just like a really funny little trick.
I don't know if I can scrub.
Ah,
Can't
okay.
scrub.
Never can't scrub. Anyways, all that is he's sitting on my shoulders. So I just like stood by the swing. He stood on my shoulders, and we just cut me out in post with After Effects.
You can go home, you can pause it, and you can see the top of my head poking out
Yeah.
from between his legs.
No, other way around.
Oh, right.
My
your
head on it, yeah,
your head,
exactly.
right. My head between my own legs.
Exactly. It's very impressive. And so the whole thing was like super random, and he put it on Vimeo, and literally like 2 weeks later, it got staff picked.
And he was jealous because it was on my account, not
Exactly.
his account. And I was like,
But it got thrown on the front page, and we're like, what is happening? This doesn't make any sense. And it kind of made us realize two things. Like, first, we had to use what we had around us, which is like so obvious, but like it just was. It's been something we still use to this day. When we talk about everything everywhere, everything was just like using what was around us, and we'll talk about more about that later. And the other thing that I learned in college around that time that has really stuck with me is like, we weren't the best cinematographers. We kind of knew how to use the camera, but everyone else was using the 5D Mark II to basically see how beautiful they can make it, which was amazing, and that stuff was getting a lot of exposure. But like something I heard in college was, if you can't be the best, at least be the first. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be the best. This is the first. I think it was the first time people saw the 5D Mark II being used in the comedic setting, and so people were like drawn to it. And it doesn't look like much now, but I think at the time, the staff saw something, and that was really that kind of basically forced us to be like, hey, should we do another one? Which has like been our whole career.
yeah, just more silly stuff like that. So basically, that led to us like accidentally starting a music video career. There's a few more short films in between, but just throwing things on Vimeo and making them together. We didn't really like come up with the name Daniels and decide to be like a duo. It was kind of by accident that one of our short films led to, or one of our music videos led to someone trying to hire us, and we were like, let's come up with a cool name so we can have a joint Vimeo account. And so
It's like marriage, yeah.
So we started making a bunch of music videos together, and that was kind of the start of our careers, which a lot of times we kind of say we learned that like making music videos was our real film school, that like in film school we learned like a little, like not much, but we met a bunch of cool people, and then at making music videos we would pitch ideas we weren't sure how to achieve and learn as we made it, once we tricked someone into paying for it, how to do different things. And kind of like each music video was kind of like an exercise in like, I want to learn that next.
And I think that was the lesson. It was like every single time there's a selfish urge to be like, I want to upgrade my D&D characters, abilities. And so I'm just going to add a little bit more. And so that first music video that we did, actually, we're just going to go off script for a second, just open up our, and we're just going to scrub through stuff, kind of just, I'm sorry if you guys haven't seen this stuff, but it's boring to us, so we're just going to scrub through it as we talk about it. But the first music video we ever did was, again, a moment in which neither of us knew what we were doing. He just saw an Icelandic band song, and he was like, oh, this is a cool song. Let's just make a music video for them, even though they already have a music video for it. Like, it was not wanted. It was not necessary. It was not going to further our careers.
Yeah, that's not good advice.
And then went online, and then the first Warp Records actually reached out and was like, hey, do you guys want to do a music video? We have $12,000.
Like, how do you spend that much? That's insanity.
$12,000.
$12K? So we went to New York and we shot this thing.
And they greenlit it, and so it's
There's
like
more fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. It's more fireworks, more random, whatever. It's fine.
There's the fireworks.
It was the first time we had a producer. It was like a crew of 5 or 6 people, maybe. And we flew out to New York. I actually quit my job at DreamWorks. It was a very scary time, but very exciting. And then we didn't get work for another 9 months or something like that. It was great.
We would do like odd jobs. We like secretly co-directed this nightmarish Maroon 5 video and thought about like quitting music videos because it was like not fun. But eventually got around to booking another music video.
But this is another interesting lesson actually, because what ended up happening was we were so demoralized. Like we wrote so many treatments, maybe 2 or 3 a week for a very long time. Do you have any of those treatments? Like,
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I put together a treatments folder, and I realized afterwards, like, none of these ever got made.
yeah.
So these are all, like, all of the bands we pitched to. This one's cool. It's going to be like spirit animals in the sky dancing. So it's
Yeah,
like
okay.
like dancing teddy bears and stuff. This one was going to be fun. It was like tears dancing across people's faces.
Oh, everything's dancing. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Oh my God, this one would have been great.
There's a
But
time travel Beyonce thing.
But
Oh
this was
my
one where
God.
we had no idea how much money it costs to shoot an artist like that, you know? Like, we sent the treatment, and they were like, this is a $10 million treatment. What are you doing? David Bowie said no. None of these happened.
And so we went about like 7, 8, 9 months without booking any music videos, and then we got pulled onto this Maroon 5 music video. We got pulled onto this awful commercial that
Ooh, can I
basically.
pitch this one? This one
Oh.
would have been good. It starts off and it's like Saw. It's all these people in these awful places, you know, like set to David Guetta music. It's like, oots, oots. And then like slowly you realize that each person's torture device, instead of being like a room full of syringes, is actually like a fantastic room of like puppies licking them, or like one giant birthday cake and everyone they've ever loved is in the room, and it's just like happy Saw. That was it.
Happy Saw. We might still make that one. Don't steal
One
it.
day. Didn't happen.
All right, one more.
One more.
We gotta move
This is
on.
another one of my favorites. This one would have been fun. It's like Kendrick Lamar, but instead of like being in a car and like being like, oh, what a cool car, he's just in his favorite chair, and it's just like a video like celebrating how awesome it is to have like a comfy lazy boy, and then he just like relaxes in his chair for the whole song.
Well, no, but he sits down after a long day and he reclines, and he doesn't stop the entire video.
Yeah, he just keeps reclining through his childhood, through his like young career, through his problems, through his like concerts, just like reclining through it, bro.
And just so you have a window into how the music video industry works, we sent it in very excited, and the commissioner was like, "Sorry, they already shot the video."
They've already picked someone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
too late.
okay. So basically, long story short, we wanted to leave. We're like this, and you guys, I'm sure you all know what this feels like, how hard this world we've all decided to live in is. And
I guess the other fun anecdote is that there was one music video we pitched on that year, like after a bunch of rejections, we pitched on like a Sleigh Bells song, which was like a band we really loved at the time. And they said no because we pitched like a Christmas-themed music video.
we're really good at this.
And then they were like, we don't want a Christmas music video. Like that's like like very like topical for one period of the year. But we loved our concept so much that
And
we
we were
just
so demoralized, honestly.
yeah, and I was just like, fuck it, let's just shoot it anyway, and we made it anyway and released it anyway.
But we just wanted to get we wanted to get something out after like months and months of being basically creatively like frustrated. And we wanted to send it to our reps, our commissioners, our music video reps, our manager. We just felt so bad because we basically felt like you guys bet on the wrong horse. I'm so sorry. Like we were ready to basically go home because we couldn't afford doing this anymore, and also it just didn't feel like we were made for this industry. And
But it actually kind of like proved that like all of our crazy ideas that we'd been pitching that year, that we could actually pull them off, you know? And
it got staff picked again.
yeah, and it got like passed around, and like there
Well,
was like a music
specifically-
video commissioner
yeah.
that was like dating someone that we worked with, and he really loved this thing, and like it actually ended up like opening a bunch of doors for us. Again, it was like a very weird strategy as a filmmaker to just like make a music video that got rejected anyway and send it around to people you work with. But I think we were just kind of chasing our passion and trying to like have fun again, you know, and which I do think is something that's worked for us over the years. Is like when we start getting demoralized, we'll just try to come up with something fun to do, and it sort of pays off.
Right, it shakes us out of our funk. But what ended up happening, it was one of the people who saw it happened to be a commissioner at a major label, and he saw it and he said, one of my goals, he said this internally, he told us later, he said, one of my goals is to work with these guys in 2011. That's my goal. I'm going to try to do something with them. And we didn't realize it. And that's when basically he commissioned the music video that basically like shot us out of our little funk and into this next tier where people would actually take our ideas seriously. The funny thing is, the first time we did a call with the line producer for that music video, it was probably like 3 hours long. we walked him beat by beat through the whole thing, and he immediately quit after that call.
He was like, nope. Which is like something that's happened a couple times with us. Like Swiss
Yeah.
Army Man, we went through a few people until we found someone that like felt like it was they could pull it off, you know, which is like anytime someone quits, we kind of don't begrudge them, you know.
Yeah, and I think that the difference that in our collaboration than I think some other directors is that like he is very much a producer, and so the way that we collaborate is always like on one hand trying to push it as far as possible, basically maxing out our resources, and on the other hand he's always trying to simplify and focus, which is something that we needed to do on Everything Everywhere. Basically every single time we ran into like a budgetary problem, we would have to like sit back and figure out, okay, how are we going to rewrite this in a way that's going to actually focus the resources toward where it matters, so that everything else can just be like background. You know, it doesn't matter. It's very imperfect. Like that music video is very imperfect, but when it's all cut together, it's somehow, you know, you can still understand what's happening emotionally.
Which is a part of the process that like I really appreciate, is like learning to kind of like love the guardrails, because like whenever we'd come up against something being unproducible, we'd have to have a conversation and remind ourselves what matters, you know, and be like, really stress test our own ideas and be like, honestly, as fun as that one gag sounds, it's not important to the story. And I feel like we wouldn't have those conversations if there weren't guardrails, so our next movie is not going to be as good. Right. Done with music videos for now. Then we made 10 more. But in the interest of time, we want to get to some other stories.
Yeah, essentially, we kind of kept doing that until we did Turn Down for What, which felt kind of like our most ambitious and strange video we'd ever done. But by the time we got there, everyone in our crew had been working with us for a while, and every one of us had an unspoken language, and so we were able to pull off, again, a lot for very little because of that efficiency that was built over a long career together. And after that video, we're like, I think we're done. I think we...
We didn't say that out loud, but it kind of happened.
It kind of happened.
Turn down for what?
Again, it was like a slow upgrade, slowly adding to our arsenal of tools. You know, we did the music video just to learn stunts. We did the music video just to learn how motion control worked. We did the music video just so that we could end up meeting the guy who became our stunt coordinator on our movie. We did the music video and discovered a new VFX solution to how expensive visual effects are usually. We just asked a bunch of our directing friends to come and hang out with us. That was a Tenacious D video. We stayed up all night in the same room for a couple weeks and pumped something out. And so
And a lot of those same people did the VFX on the new movie.
exactly. And so we were slowly collecting this thing, kind of accidentally creating this gravity around our work that I think made our work like so much better, because there is a shared understanding and also just a shared passion for the thing. Like, our work is no longer ours. Our crew cares about our careers just as much as we care about theirs, which changes the way that you make decisions, you know. And again, we'll talk more about that later.
But in addition to music videos, we like made a lot of short films and commercials, and we're not going to show you the commercials. But they are related, because like we kind of made a lot of our short films at moments when we were creatively frustrated, kind of like that Christmas video was made when we were like just demoralized from music video rejections. We made a short film called Interesting Ball that's like a really surreal, stupid music short film that's made up of all the rejected ideas that we had and our friends had, and it was made after we did a commercial that I really didn't like, and we were just like, let's make the things we want to make that no one else would let us make, and that one was made for, we were coming up in the world of music videos. That one was like, I think we had a budget of $4,000. Which was pretty sick, and we spent $2,000 making it because everybody just donated their time, and we had kind of built this reputation among our friends that like, we'll pay you on the next one if this one's free. So we ended up spending half the budget on Interesting Ball on a party, for the cast and crew, where everybody got free T-shirts and cake and dinner. Because it was like, oh, what are you gonna? We could pay you $50, or we could just throw a really fun party and premiere the movie, and that's what we did.
Like we said, we had just done 3 or 4 commercials back to back, and everyone was feeling the same way. It's like, let's do something fun. Let's do something for us. And normally it would feel, we don't like exploiting people. We don't like taking free labor. We don't even want to give, free labor. Why would we ask other people to do it? But when you build a family like that, slowly, it becomes this thing where it doesn't. It's like beyond the money, because you know that we're going to feed each other, help each other, nurse each other's careers later.
And all the shoot days on Interesting Ball were like 4 hours.
Right. Yeah.
It was like 5 different 4-hour shoots, so it was never like a get up at dawn movie, which was also, I think, like something that made people like, okay, I'll come. Right. But the big thing, like it says, that happened with our short films is we kind of developed our voice. Like, we learned a lot with music videos, but it was in short films that we started to realize that we could combine really sincere ideas with extremely stupid ones, which kind of led to Interesting Ball, which led to Swiss Army Man and Everything Everywhere. And it was kind of that like unhinged experimentation that was required for us to like even take those risks, to be like, I didn't have to this isn't a band's money or a band's reputation that I'm messing with. It's just mine. So let's make a movie where I get sucked up your butt. That's something that happens in Interesting Ball. And so, yeah, we kind of developed our voice, like a unique kind of style, and kind of fell in love with like kind of low budgetiness, and fell in love with kind of bad visual effects.
And we didn't realize it at the time, but we were collaborating with the algorithm. Like, we didn't have the language for it, but there was an algorithm pushing certain things to certain people and going viral. And, at the time, we were just like, oh, this is fun. But at the same time, when we were doing stuff for ourselves, we realized how empty it felt to put that out into the world. And so that's actually kind of that weird tension, that contradictory tension is actually what led us to experiment in this way, where we accidentally created this Trojan horse for ourselves and the audience, if they are willing to accept our absurdity, to feel something that they weren't expecting, because they just thought they were going to watch like a silly YouTube video.
Mm-hmm. But since I mentioned bad visual effects, maybe we won't show you this whole thing. But here's like a glimpse into how we did our visual effects and how we still do our visual effects.
And how you guys should too. How many of you guys know After Effects? Do you guys know? Okay.
Okay.
There should be way more people.
Yeah. If you're a director, if you learn like the basics of After Effects, it's so helpful to just know like that little problem over there, I can fix it myself. It won't take too long.
Yeah, with Swiss Army Man, there was like 250 effect shots overall, and we did about 150 of them, just us two.
For $0.
For $0,
because, like,
but
because those effects were like, oh, Dan Radcliffe blinked, and I was like,
Right.
yeah, I got that. It's fine.
And so there's an efficiency there that like costs you nothing and saves you so much time in post, but also so much time on set, because you know exactly how to save the shot. People say don't fix it in post, but if you're the one doing it, do it all the time, and you will just be. We can shoot so fast because we know, oh, that doesn't matter. We can focus on the thing that matters on the screen.
But
and
the
fix
worst thing
everything
is
else.
if you say I'm going to fix it in post, and then it turns out to be one of the hardest things to fix in post.
Yeah.
Like our producer friend made a music video for Beyonce that was supposed to be for kids to eat healthy, and her shorts were too short, and then they had to make her shorts longer. And that's a hard visual effect, like to change someone's clothes
while they're dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a glimpse into the 12 years leading up to Everything Everywhere.
And okay, so that was way too fun, and we took too long. And so now we're gonna have to zoom through some of the lessons we learned and how they applied. But I'll just say the first thing is, over the course of those 10, 12 years, we crafted it our own way, even if it was against what the industry said we should do. We try to, this is up to a lot of his work. He would say, why do people do it that way? And why can't we do it this way? And so for this movie in particular, VFX companies are way too hard to work with. They have people working in every country. You don't have any interfacing time with the real artists. It costs way too much money. So we just asked 5 or 6 of our friends to come and join us. And none of them had ever done visual effects on this level, but we trusted that we could pull it off. So that was one thing.
Yeah, which I felt confident in because we'd just done it for 10 years.
Right.
And we also kind of wrote the script with various crew members in mind, including those guys, and we were like, this movie doesn't have to be photorealistic. That's not the point. And kind of we wrote the movie with our production designer in mind. We wrote the movie with our cinematographer in mind, thinking, oh, I know what those guys are good at. We also wrote the movie with the city of Los Angeles in mind because we knew that if we traveled and shot somewhere else, we wouldn't be able to bring all these people that we know and love with us. And so that was like a big battle that we fought.
A lot of producers were saying, you got to shoot somewhere else. Let's look in Indonesia. Let's look at Puerto Rico. Let's look at any, and like, I'm sure you guys all hear that all the time. We live in LA. Our families are in LA. Our crews are in LA. And everyone's saying you can't shoot in LA. And we knew we could stretch the dollars way further here, even if on paper it costs more. And so we actually fought and managed to keep the entire production in LA with our crew, with our families. Everyone got to go home and hang out with their kids, which I think is really important to us, that our crews feel like they are being taken care of and that they actually get to have a life, because all of that feeds into the process. So there's just so many different things where we just try to push against the way that it's supposed to be done, and you guys will find your own versions of it because you guys know better than anyone else, better than any producer, what you need as a filmmaker to give you the environment to make something great.
Especially if you've made a bunch of crap already.
Exactly.
Like we kind of like had this backlog of like, oh, that worked, that didn't over the years.
Right.
That kind of gave us more and more confidence that leading into this one.
Cool. The next big thing we always talk about is we're always collaborating with the universe. A movie like Everything Everywhere and All at Once would not have existed if we knew exactly what we wanted every single moment of every single shot, because that would have cost, $60-70 million to get everything precisely.
So like what we mean by collaborating with the universe a lot of times is like, sometimes there'll be a question that like the producer wants to know, and we'll say, I don't know the answer to that yet, but it's not super important to me, and I just want to find a solution later that's easy. And we kind of just wait until, circumstances dictate what that location is going to look like. So like once we have a schedule, we'll be like, oh, okay, what's nearby where we could shoot monkeys with hot dog fingers? Like we'll do whatever the nearest park is now that we've found our hero location.
And I feel like the only way we could do that is we tell our crew this movie is about quantity, not quality, right? We gotta go bang, bang, bang. Let's touch infinity with a movie. And the way that the movie can still hold up is something that we've developed now that people have been asking about it. We didn't use this term, but it's kind of an inherent idea that all of our crew members understand. It's the 80-20 rule, which is like, find the 80% that matters the least and spend 20% of the time on it, and find the 20% of the things that matter the most and spend 80% of your time and resources on it. Which kind of like our DP, who's a nerd, kind of brought up this fact that like this is how your eye actually works.
On the left. Both?
Both, yeah.
All
They're
right.
both interpretations of it. When you look, you think you're seeing in full HD or 4K or whatever, but actually your brain is filling in the gaps. You really only see sharply and in color with like this much. There's like maybe 10% of what your eye sees. And slowly as it moves out, it gets grayer and grayer and more blurred out. And that's kind of what we try to do with our movie. Like, sharpness for the story where it mattered, the family and infinity. That's what we wanted to matter. And then everything else, the imagination fills out and realizes into something that like hopefully feels like a complete movie that, is wonderful, magical, and that's why we're here.
It feels counterintuitive sometimes as the director saying that doesn't matter, but it's a big part of our process is being like trying to make sure everybody's focused on the things that matter, and get people to quit thinking about those hot dogs on those monkey hands, because the monkeys don't matter that much. Right. And then the weird byproduct that goes along with that is, you want to go next?
Oh, we can just show.
Right, examples. So like these things mattered a lot, like who's our lead actress, making like our Wong Kar-wai reference, make sure it's not hideous, or else that's such an insult to him, making sure the hot dogs look good because your eyes are looking there. That's the joke, that they have to be fun and look good. This stuff didn't matter so much when she's flashing. All these frames are like one frame in the movie, and we told our VFX artists, don't worry, they can look pretty bad. So one of them did I love tennis, and that's in the movie. It's in there.
I'll also say that just the top right,
Yeah,
it's,
Dan Kwan didn't want that one in there, and I was
It's
like, it's
just-
going in.
it's the pinnacle of laziness, and I love it. Like a 5-year-old could do that in Photoshop, and I think that's a thing he always says is like sometimes to be a good filmmaker we have to be lazy in certain places, otherwise our brains will explode. Otherwise we'll never be able to reach
It's
the
like
ambition.
the losing the forest for the trees kind of
Yeah.
thing, where it's like, wait, what's the point of this scene? Why are we talking about the pillows?
I will also say that our movie is uniquely suited for this kind of laziness, but I challenge you to find your version of laziness in your tone and in your voice, because I guarantee no matter what kind of project you're on, there are things that matter and there are things that don't matter. And if the audience cares about those things, that means you've succeeded. If they're nitpicking you on Reddit, that means they've watched it a couple
they already
times.
care.
They already care, and you've already won. And yeah, so Reddit is loving this stuff, but
The
it's
other
fine.
weird side effect to this is that we would tell our department heads and our collaborators, this doesn't matter to me. And sometimes they would choose for themselves, it still matters for me. And they'd go above and beyond on the things, they'd have their own 20%, So like we told our VFX makeup guy that the hot dog hands mattered way more than the raccoon. But he really wanted to build a good animatronic. And he went above and beyond and made a better raccoon than we needed because he wanted to have it on. He wanted to brag about it. He wanted to learn about it. And so he showed up with this incredible raccoon, robot. And we were happy, but at least we knew that we had told him our priorities.
And it happens in every department because we want to foster a very creative, playful environment. And so we've shifted the 80-20 rule to the 80-110% rule, meaning we actually are overflowing by the end. And that's why the movie is able to feel really great, is the people around us who've been working with us care about the project so much that when we say that doesn't matter, they'll rescue it and say, I'm going to push this into the 20%. I'm going to take, the hot dog universe with that beautiful set dressing, our set decorator was like, that's the universe I'm gonna spend a lot of time on, even though you told me not to. And it looks gorgeous. Our cinematographer, with the rock universe, he's like, we were like, Larkin, we can shoot in any field with some rocks, doesn't matter. And he's like, no. We're gonna travel 3 hours out into the desert.
He's like, I know the perfect
during
cliff. I've always
COVID.
wanted to shoot it.
Yeah, and I
I think he proposed to his wife on a nearby cliff in
Exactly.
that park, so maybe it's just personal.
No,
for
but
him.
exactly.
It
but
looks good.
It looks incredible. But I do think that's something that people don't realize, is that kind of passion, that kind of love that comes from crew members who you have a relationship with, you can't really translate that to some sort of equity or some sort of line item in a budget. And I think in the end, that's probably the biggest answer to that question, how we pulled it off, is we found people who we encouraged, and told them to have fun and play with us. And it's kind of like, Monsters, Inc., the whole time they're like, oh, when kids cry, we get a lot of energy. And the finale, they realize, wait a minute. Oh, when the kids are laughing, it's exponentially more energy. Exponentially, just greater power.
This has become Dan's new favorite metaphor, but
exactly.
it's like,
But
but it's true that
true.
a happy crew works even harder than a scared crew.
Right.
They both work pretty hard.
Yeah.
A bored crew works the least.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like, oh, Monsters Inc.'s kind of true. You heard it
okay,
here.
we're running out of time.
We're running out
We'll
of
just
time,
go
but
to-
anyway, we're going to rattle off a few more things that worked for us that are just kind of examples. Hopefully some of this is useful for you guys.
Location changes are really expensive. We put it all in one location. Everything.
So we fought pretty hard, and sometimes I would make big creative compromises and fight really hard to be like, no, I don't want company moves, because I think if we prepped the movie and shot the movie all in the same location. We were there for several months.
So this is a diagram of all the different locations in the building. It was a place that let us make a mess. We're just gonna go through it.
And then we were
this
able to
u-
shoot this scene, this scene, this scene, and this scene, and this scene. Like everything's the same building. We just
Almost
built
everything's the same building.
sets
yeah.
we didn't shoot, the street scenes, there, or the laundromat, but the apartment and everything.
But again, it's like efficiency and trying to figure out what actually matters.
We've talked a bunch about collecting our team over the years, and with this movie, we found a whole bunch of new incredible people. But we try to make it more of a family, less of a team. So these are
which I know a lot of people now in the industry are like I feel like the modern way is to do this, and I'm so proud of us for actually moving, because I think when we were growing up in film school, I didn't want to be a director because I thought I'd have to be like this stern general in charge of his army, and instead we realized, oh, we can be summer camp counselors and we get better results. And each of you have your own version of that. I've heard someone say, I like to be a party host, that's how I direct, or someone says like, oh, I'm a therapist, that's how I direct. And I think whatever you guys feel is true to your style and also true to the story that you're making is all valid. And I think that's something that we had to teach ourselves slowly over the course of our careers.
It's not valid if you want to be an emotional terrorist.
Yeah.
If that's your style, not okay. I'm just gonna put that out there. But most styles are fine.
Okay.
I was self-conscious early on with how selfish sometimes our pitches were, like trying to trick a band into paying for me to get to like do a car chase, or or for my friend to dance really good on camera. But it kind of pays off and makes us work twice as hard. And there's something really powerful we found about making a movie that the audience wants to be inside of, or the audience wishes they'd made. And so we've kind of learned to lean into our shellfishness, as long as the selfishness isn't like cruel. And it's kind of, like in this movie's case, we always wanted to shoot a kung fu movie. We love kung fu. We love Michelle Yeoh. Oh my God, what if I got to work with her? What if we cast our friends? What if our crew was our friends? What if the whole movie was just an excuse for us to take millions of dollars from A24 and do therapy and try to process how we feel about our families and about ourselves and how to live in the chaos of modern life? It was all kind of selfish. But it's like sometimes hard to figure out where the line is. Like sometimes I want to end every interview with like, abortion is healthcare, but that's not necessarily like topical for the movie. But tonight they said we could just come and talk about whatever we want. So I thought I'd just point out that healthcare is a human right, that Rick Caruso's like crazy, don't vote for that guy. Yes on A. If you live in LA, this is all LA bullshit. That guy seems really cool. These ladies are all like public defenders. Did you know there's never been a Superior Court judge who was like not a prosecutor? 100% prosecutors for the last like 100 years.
We can change that this year.
These four ladies are all public defenders. What if there were like judges who were public defenders? Anyway, movies.
Yeah, I think we kind of hit this over the head. We're gonna wrap up now. Thank you guys so much for sitting down with us and just caring about our movie. This has been the wildest year of our lives. I don't understand how we were able to do all of that stuff and be here, and there's just
Goodbye gift.
This is Jamie Lee Curtis running one of our morning exercises. But we wanted to leave with like one thing that's been really clarifying for us, and this is going to feel like an inspirational poster thing that you stick on the wall, but I think we all need some inspiration right now. It's a hard time to be a filmmaker, to even be a human. And there's this Japanese idea called ikigai, and this is kind of a perverted translation, but I find it useful for at least talking about how we choose the projects we make.
So it's like a 4-part Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Like all 4 are great. It's like look for things that you love. Think about what you have to offer the world. Think about what the world actually needs, and think about what'll get you paid, because it's like hard,
And it's so hard to hit all 4, almost impossible. Like if you think about what you love, those are the short films. That's the selfish filmmaking. That's Quentin Tarantino. What you have to offer. That's thinking about like what is your background? What are you good at? I know a director who is a dance choreographer, so that's what she's good at. I'm good at visual effects, and he's good at improv comedy and working with actors. You lean into those things. Don't run away from the things that you're really good at. What the world needs, I think, is one of the things that is the hardest thing to hit without feeling false or feeling like you're trying to send a message. And that's something that we often fail to hit, honestly. And finally, what gets you paid? Because you're not going to do the world good if you can't actually survive. And so
we know some like lovely talented artists who like got burnt out, weren't getting paid, and they were done. you know? And so like that's not a small
Take care
deal.
of yourself.
Like take care of yourself. You need to eat.
And honestly, Everything Everywhere All at Once is probably the first time where we fully landed right in the middle. And I have to tell you, it is an amazing feeling. Even before, even before the movie came out, before people saw it, we were waiting for the pandemic to kind of slowly allow us to go back into theaters again. And even in that waiting period, we were both for the first time, I was like, I'm really proud of this movie, and it's really exciting as a filmmaker to be able to say that about something. And so we're just so grateful that the timing was right. We put this movie out right when the world needed it, and we getting paid now. Whoa.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Film Independent. Sorry we went over time. Yeah.